Hold on,
Welcome back
let me
to Spaz and Stevo Riff, Act Omega by Brenda McComb. Brought to you by, and let's wait for the stream to catch up for everyone else, by Los Angelos Marshmallow Cereal, featuring Blue Crips, Red Bloods, Yellow Unused SAG Cards, Orange Wildfires, Green Laundered Dollars, and Rainbows, 'cause pride. It turns your milk into heroin.
part of this. Actually, no. It's just a complete breakfast. You know, because you got to keep that beach body with anorexia.
I just saw it.
I'll take 10 boxes.
Part of a complete breakfast to go on the Butte Condiment Butte Epidemic Needle Beach.
Or to quote Secret Agent Bob, the Los Angeles is part of this balanced as fuck breakfast.
Every box comes with sex pictures inside. Every box comes with a sex tape.
Okay, enough of the shameless self-promotion. Can we get on to the totally not a Toho fic?
Actually, I'd like to talk about my awesome interpretation of this fic. I like to think of it as you know, from the first chapter. I like to think of it as a story of a kid who gets sold to the Yakuza for sex trafficking because he's a nice, twinkish, blonde American boy, and that sells very, very well.
Exotic.
In those circles. Yeah, them guys, they like that cute American boy ass. But this kid, of course, doesn't know anything about that because he's pretty dang sheltered. He believes that crime is pretty much non-existent in Japan. In fact, he thinks he's going to be an exchange student. But little does he know. And the whole getting gapped part, getting sucked into the pitch black portal is a metaphor for taking it in the ass. Hey, it worked for Spirited Away.
What, taking it in the ass?
No, apparently Spirited Away is a metaphor for prostitution, but I've also read my sources that said, like, well, actually, under that same logic, there was someone who deconstructed the song Friday by Rebecca Black that it's a song about rape. I mean, think about it. The girl's singing about, like, how she has to do this and has to do that and says, gotta have fun. And then in the middle of it, there's this random black guy who starts rapping about a school bus passing by.
Looking forward to the weekend!
Well, that brings a dark new depth to that song.
End of this fic, but fortunately or unfortunately, on my part, because I'm Chuck Palahniuk, that fic doesn't go in that direction.
Partying.
You know, it's actually going to go into the direction of this guy actually being in Gensokyo. Anyway, Spaztique, would you like to continue with this story on chapter 2, or do you want me to?
Let's see, who's the last person to read?
It was me.
Alright, then I'll continue it. My consciousness came back from the days of a dream long forgotten, and I awoke to a watchful moon staring down from the heavens of a dark night. Browning trees surround my resting place in all directions, and a gentle wind blows through them, causing the brittle leaves to rustle ever so quietly. This prose is actually pretty descriptive and elegant at the same time. The only thing yanking me out of the story is the fact that he's switching from past to present tense. It's so peaceful and quiet here that I want to go back to sleep again until morning comes, and that would have happened had I not realized that I was lying in the middle of nowhere. Jolting awake, I examined the area around myself. I'm sitting in the middle of a moonlit clearing, and the moon itself was quite beautifully bright and large this night. Lining the edge of this clearing are densely packed our autumn-colored trees that sit atop a naturally raised platform of rocks and dirt. They cast shadows towards the trees deeper in the forest, but no shadow dared cross the circle of light created by the nocturnal light directly above. Slowly, I use my hands to push my body into a sitting position. So far so good. Clean prose, intrigue, fingers crossed. I felt something hard in my right pocket. Oh no. Reaching in, I pull my hands pull out a black object. Spoke too soon. A pocket knife? When did that get there?
The pocket knife is clearly a symbol for an invasive penis, as I described earlier.
I like that.
Exactly.
He took it with him. He took it with him from home because he can take his skill because there's no crime.
I mean, it did come out of his ass.
I'm actually surprised he brought it up again at all, because that actually is a Churkov's gun. Knife.
Churkov's gun?
Stop it.
Except it's not his dad's army knife, it's just a pocket knife. Like, he never mentions that it's specifically that knife, and even then, didn't he just leave it home?
But how did it get there? And who was phoned?
Then obviously must have not been the same knife.
Then in that case, all together now. How convenient!
Joke about being just the tip here.
That's what she said.
Dreamlike. Damn it.
Popcorn?
You literally.
I get up and walk around the clearing. The ground is soft and made of mostly mosses and the occasional strips of No, don't make a marijuana joke, Stevo. And occasional strips of grass located here and there. The air was crisp and cold. The hair on my skin begins to rise as I felt a cold sensation crawl along my spine, making me shiver. Okay, my silly interpretation is getting worse with this. At the center of this area is a medium-sized puddle. Stop, Stevo. And as I approach, my foot kicks and as I approach my... No, I'm not talking about weed. I'm talking about, like, a puddle of something that isn't water.
Okay.
And as I approach, my foot kicks a stone in the water. The reflected moon on the surface of the water ripples as the pebble drops into the puddle with an audible plop. Wait a minute, what time of day is this? Because apparently it's night. Yeah, it is night. Okay, we're cool. The ripples continue along the surface effortlessly, as the beauty of nature itself needs no master to guide it. I thought I saw the puddle gain a second ripple, but it disappeared as soon as it appeared. A few moments later, it appeared again. This time it stayed long enough for me to confirm its presence. Then another one formed, and another lasting longer than the last. Then another formed, and another, and another. At this point, I took a keen interest in this strange development because I wasn't throwing any rocks. The ripples started growing in intensity, and the ground seemed to vibrate with every additional ripple. Okay, new writers, take note of this. This is some pretty solid writing. Like, this is real solid writing. And this is why. It's because it's not just some guy talking all day about himself. The biggest problem about bad writing that makes this show is the appeal of the first-person perspective writing. It's an easy way for the author to talk about themselves. So, I want you to think about it this way. You got to think of all of the first impressions you've encountered in your life. You know, all of the first conversations you have with people. Now think about the ones where that person just talked about themselves the whole time. Nothing but me, 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 me. And I'm not talking about the sexy anime music video. Though you would totally want me to dress up like that and make that dance, but that's beside the point. So you're just talking me, me, me. Naturally, you think those people are douchebags. And now you know how we feel when we open the first chapter of your fic, and all we read is the main character talking incessantly in their ego trip like they're the most important person in the world. Just, it's all about me. It's all about me. You know, stuff like that.
And that's the beauty of this next chapter. It focuses entirely on what it's like to be that character and seeing what the character sees and feeling what the character feels. The exact purpose of first-person perspective. Well done, actually.
All right, popcorn.
On instinct, my legs started running away from the source of the approaching sound. But I was stopped short by the inconvenient wall of rocks blocking my escape route, and the only other escape path was where the entity was approaching. My blood turned to ice as I heard the sound of trees being pushed apart. "Oi!" a deep drunken voice bellows. "I smell meat."
Saxton Hell!
A giant shadow seemed to engulf my body and darken the gray and worn-down rocks facing me. With my entire body being racked with fear, I slowly turned around to face the monster who has cornered its mouse. It cackled. "Looks like I got a human," it said. "Tasty little sack of bones." Well, he's on a roll, decent description and suspense. Let's see how he handles the description. It was an utterly terrifying creature.
All right, how's about you describe the creature? Like, right now I'm imagining the utterly terrifying creature to look just like the author. Actually, no. I'm going to imagine this terrifying creature to be Rush Limbaugh.
Okay.
Oh god,
complete in a suit and everything.
Okay. I just imagine it's a bunny rabbit.
Its body was stocky and muscular, his abs and biceps jutting out in an unnatural fashion. The monster's skin was dark red.
Okay, so it isn't Rush Limbaugh. Wait, what did I write?
Okay, it's
The
confirmed.
red-
He summoned
and-
Satan.
And I'm glad he's red because the red ones go faster. Sure, let's imagine him looking like Satan from South Park.
With black hair and green glowing eyes. He was holding an iron club with a wood handle behind his head. I think it'd be better to first describe the creature and then say you were utterly terrified, not just, "It was an utterly terrifying creature." "Oh, you like my kanebo? Don't worry, I'll let you take a much closer look," he assured. Desperately, I tried to run to the left of him to escape, but before I ran far, the kanebo...
Okay, here's the quintessential red flag of a weeb. Using the Japanese word when the English word will do just fine. Of course it's not a spiked club, it's a kanebo. These two things are totally different.
Slammed into the ground in front of me, causing a shockwave that knocked me back. The club had caused a devastatingly large hole in the ground. And now we're back to past tense again. "Won't let dinner get away," it bellowed as the kanebo started dragging itself towards my body, not to be confused with the club, as previously mentioned.
I wonder what's for dinner. Oh boy, I'm so hungry. I could eat a Gappy.
You'll have popcorn.
Okay, yeah, for that stupid remark. Tripping on my own feet, I flipped around and started to run the other direction and dived as the club just missed my head. I looked over to see the demon with an enraged face and his club held in his right hand, high above his head, ready to swing back down.
Wait, do you mean a club or a kanebo? Make up your mind!
Okay, now we're just messing with him. This time I prepared myself as it came down and definitely dodged the right. Out of some long, dormant survival instinct, or as I like to call it, a convenient new ability the writer decided to write in for his precious, precious character. I ran towards the demon while smoothly extracting the knife, readying my right arm to strike. Without hesitation, Isaac threw himself into the trapdoor and fell into the unknown depths below. No. Without hesitation, I doled out about 4 minor cuts to the demon's leg before thrusting the knife as deep into the flesh as it would go. Blood spattered, and the wound onto my face and shirt. Oh, by the way, blood on his shirt. I mean, is that his school uniform? He's gonna need to get that dry cleaned then. With an effort, I pulled the knife out from its leg, but at the same time I was caught face to face with a wall of dark flesh. The demon's fist had slammed into my body, and I lost my grip of the knife as I was thrown flying backwards.
Okay, now we're going somewhere interesting with this. The knife didn't work.
My flight ended abruptly as I painfully hit the rock wall and slumped to the ground with my back to the wall. Sound and sight were non-existent, as my ears were filled with a ringing sound and my vision was dark and started to fade. I felt blood run down my face and to the side of my nose, dripping to the ground. The Oni yelled again, causing pain to wreak havoc on my eardrums. "Not so tough now, petty human? Us only are more strong and pathetic, you. Us only also enjoy being drunk and getting in fights. Aren't you impressed that the author knows a thing or two about Japanese folklore?" Again, hello, I am the medieval knight writing.
But at the same time, we do at least have the character trying to fight back, and now he's getting his ass kicked. So now I want to know where this is going.
Yeah, at least that's good. He sneered, "I smash it a mush now." The Oni prepared to bring the heavy club once more, lifting way above himself, eclipsing the moon. "This is where I die."
Got a little.
I like that, you know. I am Jack's Grim Reaper. This is where I die. I actually like that line. Darkness invades my vision, and it fades even further. Just before it fades altogether, a bright light shines behind the red Oni, and a giant rainbow-colored orb gets smashed into its massive frame. "All praise and glory be to the god of the machine. Glory to him who conveniently saves the main character."
Man, just when it was getting interesting.
Yeah. Hey, hello, Rainbow Deus Ex Hakurai.
I can't see. I hear its body fall to the ground. Wait, isn't he deaf? Oh, whatever. The force of the shock knocks me out completely.
It'd be really interesting if the previous sentences were cut and the chapter just ended on the sentence where he thinks, "This is where I die," and then he just hears the noise or something along those lines. So we think it's the club at first, but then it just turns out to be the Deus Ex Machina of sorts. At least we'd be more intrigued to see what happened in the next scene, but even then, why didn't he just wake up in the next scene? Hell, the varying quality of this fic makes me want to, see what goes on next, so let's move on.
What, out of bile curiosity?
Well, there's bile curiosity, but then there's, this is different. It swings between being really good and then not so good.
Alright, let's see, Spaztique, would you like to read the next part? Oh, wait, you don't have a choice in the matter. Popcorn.
Yes. The air is heavy with a sour dryness. The sky is a bland shade of gray, and the sand that looks towards its heaping entirety has been pelted upon for hours by an unrelenting rain. The barren landscape contains the shattered pieces of a once prosperous city, now buried and ruined beyond repair. Under the makeshift roof of one of the structures lies a boy on a rag, bleeding heavily from a leg wound.
Where is this? I don't know anywhere in Japan like this.
Unless it's back in the 1940s, but I don't think the writer's trying to be that edgy.
I don't know, it doesn't sound like the 1940s. Would an exchange student be able to go to Japan in the 1940s?
I mean, he was transported back in time.
any...
Otherwise, this guy would be really privileged.
And if it was in the 1940s, he'd probably be covered in radiation.
Coming soon, from the makers of The Last Samurai, The Last Kamikaze, starring Tom Cruise.
Oh, and by the way, the kamikaze pilot survives crashing. Because why the fuck not? It's Hollywood.
Accepting the inevitable, he lets his moments pass by while letting the rain lull for him to the sweet embrace of nil. A quiet rhythm interjects itself among the raindrops' pitter-patter, and as the rhythm grows more prominent, one can assess that the new sound is that of footsteps in the wet sand. These feet stop beside the boy, and he turns slowly to identify this person.
Wait, No. This author just switched POV mid-story without any warning or anything. I usually don't accept that at all, but I don't even know what the new perspective is. Is it still first person, but he's seeing something else? Is it third person now, and the boy is Usui-kun, or what is this perspective? I don't understand.
I think we're in third person, but if that's the case, it should be at least split by chapter.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How does this author perspective?
He couldn't make out her face, but she was a small girl and she was holding a piece of fabric towards him. "Use this," she said and smiled. It was a warm and genuine smile, something the boy hasn't seen in a while. Now, I know you're trying to be heartwarming, but the timing of this just seems off. We barely know these characters. One we know the history of, and the other one just kind of came out of nowhere. And let's see, we're at the 20-minute mark. So, finish our... Let's see. How much do we have left? Oh, we have quite a lot left. So, continue in part 5, is it?
Yeah, it's part 5, I think.
Alright, this is Spaztique.
And this is Stevo, and we'll see you on the other side.
See you there.